it's almost unimaginable for us to think of the sorrow that filled the heart of those first women who ventured to Jesus' tomb that first Easter morning. It's almost unimaginable for us who have heard the story of the resurrection so many times that we can't think anymore of the sorrow that filled them. They had been earlier to go and buy the oils and spices they needed to anoint the body of Jesus, a task in preparation for his burial that they weren't able to do on the Friday because the Sabbath starts at sunset and it was already so late. And so they arrive at the tomb. Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and Salome, the mother of the sons of Zebedee. And there they are, going to anoint the body of Jesus. This was always a task for women, amongst many others. Those who brought life into the world were also responsible for preparing for the death, the burial. Mary Magdalene had anointed Jesus' feet only 2 days previously when he visited Bethany in Holy Week. Little did she know that in 2 days' time, the death that she was foretelling would come into reality. And as they moved to the tomb in the dark morning before sunrise, debating on who they will get to help them to roll away the stone, they arrive there and the stone is rolled away. In Mark's Gospel, the young man in his long white robe isn't called an angel, but there he sits. And he says to them, "You are here looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He is not here, he is risen. Go and tell Peter and the other disciples that he awaits them in Galilee." I always think it's strange that in our resurrection we don't, narratives, we don't think more on the wonder of these women. They were the mothers of Jesus' disciples. They were the women who had supported his ministry through from Galilee down to where he was in Jerusalem. They had walked these long roads with him. They too were his disciples. Just 3 years later, Saul, the Pharisee, with his letters from the chief priests, is heading down to Damascus to go and continue to persecute this early church, to arrest and round up the Christians. And there, on the road to Damascus, he encounters the risen Christ, an encounter that will change everything. Suddenly, Saul becomes Paul, the apostle, no longer a persecutor, but the proclaimer of the good news. In his second epistle to Timothy, probably the last one he wrote, it's now 30 years later, and he writes to Timothy as he sits in the prison in Rome under Emperor Nero. If we die with Christ, we shall also live with Christ. If we deny him, he will deny us. If we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny himself. At the time, under Emperor Nero, Christians were being rounded up, covered in tar, and set alight at night to provide light for Nero's extensive gardens. So if you were being baptized in those days, you knew that your life was in danger. And yet their faith in the resurrection, their faith in the risen Christ was so strong that they knew that it was worth everything. It was worth eternal life with Christ. So this Easter, we thank God that we are not called to martyrdom as they were, but we are still called to give light. Not light for Nero's gardens, light for the world. We as Christians are called to be the light for those around us, to be the ones who make the change, even as Christ has changed our lives. So be the light. Be the ones who bring the love of God into the presence of all those around you. Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Alleluia, alleluia. May you have a blessed Easter.